And the link is on the email. If you guys want to join that, that'll be awesome. And there's also a breakout room after the podcast if you guys want to join that as well. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Hooray. So what is being suggested is that there is nothing but silence. The silence or emptiness or the wholeness, oneness, whatever you might want to call it, that is being sought appears in everything and is never lost. There's only unspeakable silence. This unknowable silence is home. This meeting is silent. This meeting is home. This speaker is silent. The audience is silent. There's no audience or speaker, it's all silence. So what is being heard is silence. All the questions and all the answers are silent. Every sound that appears is silent. So speaking about silence, I have a little story to tell. It's inspired by my little puppy. So there's this little puppy door, you know, the door that comes in and out, you know, that you install in your door so that when the puppy gets a little bit older, it knows how to go out and do its business. So there was a puppy door. So the first time that the puppy got outside, the puppy was ecstatic, jumping up and down, happy, hooray, it's outside, loving the independence of being outside, chasing its tail. After some time, it felt that it was lost and was not home anymore. So it started barking. Started barking and barking and whining and crying because it felt that it's lost, that it's no longer home. But no amount of barking or whining got it back on its way back home. It can smell the food inside. It can hear the noise. It can feel the warmth of the house from the outside. It was having an anxiety attack. So it lied down for a while, looked around for a while, you know, and started whining again. And it saw a plank of wood or a stick. And for quite a while, it calmed down. It was chewing on the stick for quite a while and just really loving the stick. While chewing, it noticed that the puppy door, kind of like, oh, there's the puppy door that I came from. So it ran towards the door. But because it was carrying this puppy stick, it kept on getting stuck. And no matter what angles or, you know, it ran, kept on going back multiple times. And no matter what amount or angle or any, whatever it does, it can't get in. It dropped the stick, picked up the stick again, and ran again to the door, and it kept on getting stopped. And then finally, after maybe, you know, 20 times or something, the dog got tired and dropped the stick, and it was inside. There's no outside or inside. The puppy felt safe again. It didn't matter if it was outside the house or out inside the house. It was always home. So home is silence. Everything is silence. No matter what happens, there's always silence. No matter what barking, whining, or crying, there's always silence. And the silence that's being expressed is this. So these words seemingly has an audio quality to it. It's either loud or soft or irritating or pleasant. It's always silent. And the narrative that comes about what this silence is is the noise, but the noise is also silent. So what's being longed for is this silence, this never-ending, infinite silence. But the silence is always there. It can never leave. It's in the loudest noise. It's in the whisper. It's in the cries. It's in the laughter. But seemingly there's this longing for this silence, but it's also afraid of the silence. It also rejects it. It comes up with different versions of what silence should be. This silence should be blissful. This silence should be this. It should be permanent, but it's always permanent. The ideas of impermanence and permanent are just ideas. And ideas are the illusory silence. And the silence that's being expressed is so loud. It's so loud that it's heard. It's heard in every single word. It's heard in every single pause. It's the emptiness in everything that's always been expressed. It's the emptiness in every fullness. When it's usually mentioned, it has always been this way. It's silence, emptiness, the unspeakable. Because what's being expressed here is completely unspeakable. But somehow there is this expression of what this is. Although this can never be spoken about, there's a lot of noise about it. There's a lot of noise of this is better and this is worse. This is the absolute. They're all noise. It's all silence. So when silence is always this, there's nothing to get. There's nothing to figure out. There's nothing to know. There's nothing to understand. Because silence can never be understood. It doesn't need understanding. Silence is always this. It doesn't need practice. It doesn't need knowing. It doesn't need an awareness. Because everything is already silent. Even the noise that you hear is silent. It's in everything. It can never leave. And this silence is timeless. This silence is empty. This silence is whole and complete. The silence is home. It's the eternal home. The silence is forever. Although it cannot really be understood, because understanding it fragments it into a knowing of something, an understanding, or an arriving at something. As I speak, I hear my dog whining, but that's also silence. And there's nothing that you can do or not do about silence because it's always going to be silence. Any ideas of silence are just ideas about silence. It's also silence. And it's so stunning. It's so clear that although these words are appearing as words, they're really meaningless, they're really purposeless. They don't really have anything to do with you getting it because there's no you, because you are not even here. There's no you to be here. There's not even a here. This is just empty silence. And all that there is silence. There's nothing outside of silence. Everything that you speak, everything that you know, everything that you understand is silence. So if all the definitions, all of the meaning is yanked away, there's nothing but silence. Nothing is everything. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
I don't even know what the freaking
Hello.
question is. Hi, Emerson.
Hello. Hey, Kathy.
Hey, how you doing?
I got your emails, but I haven't had a chance to respond yet. Sorry.
Oh, things. Then no responses except you know, whatever the word is. No, it was just free thinking, whatever that thing is.
Beautiful.
Huh? Hey.
It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wasn't mine. It was excerpted.
Excerpted. Yes.
Yeah, excerpted. Yeah. Anyway, oh jeez. I'm not going to know how to put my hand down or do any of that stuff because everything changed
No
on
worries.
here
No
all of a
worries. No
sudden.
worries.
But this is what I wanted to tell. Wanted to say. Did you ever listen to Rajiv? No.
No.
Well, he was Walter, that fellow Walter.
Oh
The
yeah,
interviewer.
I know, but I didn't listen. I don't really listen to a lot of
Yeah,
non-duality
you don't
stuff
have the
anymore.
time. All you do is make videos. You don't have time to listen.
No.
Anyway, so yeah, so I listened to it. I really liked it. And then I maybe whatever. So the next thing, his story, his stuff pops up on the phone. The algorithms.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I kind of liked it. And then I went back again yesterday or whatever, last night. And I mean, well, I'm not going to tell anybody the punchline because when I was thinking about telling you this story, and then I said, had the punchline was included. And then all of a sudden it came to me. I said, no, that's not how you tell a story. So anyway, he has this phone conversation that he recorded with a young man that's in the hospital, psychiatric.
Yeah.
He had like some spiritual awakening.
Yes. Yeah.
But the fine line between that and psychosis, I guess. I don't know. So he's talking to Rajiv. I got from the conversation that they had spoken before. It wasn't like a fresh new conversation.
Okay.
And he was, Rajiv is hardcore non-duality.
Yeah.
And he was like, there's no, the kid was like saying, I don't know, should I take the medicine? Well, with integrity, when the kid was asking about medicine, Rajiv kept saying, I'm not a therapist, talk to your doctor about that.
Yeah.
But the young man really wanted something, and he kept, and he was talking about his kundalini and the pain and going on. And obviously he must have had a guru, but he said Babaji. So I don't know who that is. It's probably hundreds or tens of thousands of them in India. I don't know if the kid was in India or not. Rajiv is in India. And Rajiv kept saying, there's nobody here. It's just, there's no you who's going to make that decision. There's no, it just, and the script.
Yes.
And so then like halfway through the conversation, the kid says, bro, give me something.
Yeah.
Well, that was it for me. It's just like waterworks all over the place.
Yeah.
I think I listened to it maybe, I don't know, probably 3 times already. It was just so painful.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But at the same time, that's why I don't want to blow it. It was something that just like, boom.
Yeah.
Like exploded me like right out of the world.
Yes.
So anyway, that's all I wanted to tell you. And when you find a few minutes, I think it's only like a 20-minute phone call, you can watch it.
Oddly enough, the same character called this character from the hospital.
That boy called you?
Yes, we've had about 3
conversations
God, already.
What's his name?
I don't want to say it. Maybe it's because he is in the hospital.
It's on the recording. They didn't hide his name.
Yeah.
Rajiv didn't.
The character is in Holland. It's in Holland, right? So it's talking about Kundalini and everything. So the first thing that this did is because the letter was about I basically seek some help. You know what I'm saying? Seek some help in the dream. Seeking help happens as well in terms of psychological and that kind of stuff. And I basically shared that I was in that position as well, and I seeked help for mental, for depression and all that kind of stuff, right? And so we've been talking for the past couple of days, and there's a relief there from the boy, right? Because he thought that he was going to lose what he had in that awakening, So what was expressed that nothing was gained. This is also it. And there's a bit of clarification that seems to be happening. And but yeah, he's for the past 2 days, what I was saying, that character is called, wrote me a long letter.
Much. You are too freaking much. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll send you it.
If you don't share it, I'll send you a recording.
I can't stand it. Nope. 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 Nope.
Or I better ask the person first.
Wait,
yeah.
No. The other day, I don't know when it was. Who knows? Day, night, whatever. I was like, now you're telling me this, so this is really like hitting here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, gee whiz, I don't know what I was thinking about. I said, do you know what indulgences are?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
You do?
What are indulgences? I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? In the Catholic Church.
Oh, in the Catholic Church. Yes. Yeah. But explain it for everyone. Yeah.
It's like all the good works that you do.
Yes.
You store them up in your soul.
Yes.
It's almost like, if you have a lot of money in the bank, it's getting all that interest.
It's your spiritual bank account.
Yeah.
Yes.
I said, you know what? Emerson can go out and cut somebody's throat right now.
But there's no one to cut anyone's throat, right?
I know, for God's sakes, I can't keep talking like this is a parent and that's a parent, because it makes me sound silly.
But that conversation with that young kid as well was inspired this, because that the puppy with the stick, right? Because it found something, that this calmed me down. So it kept on coming back with the stick, and it kept on blocking him. But basically what he was saying is that, I had this Kundalini awakening or something, and he was holding on to that stick when everything is already, he was afraid to lose it. He was afraid. That's the apparent, saying dangers of an apparent glimpse, is that there's a holding on to that seeming blissfulness. And then it can seemingly in the story drive somebody into depression when they think they've lost it, or when they think that they have to surrender to it. So that puppy talk was actually inspired by that as well.
What it was?
Yeah.
Just let it stick. Just drop it, and you're home.
Yeah, it's always home.
Yeah,
it's always home. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Emerson. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy. Hey, Lauren. Hello. Hi.
Hi, Emerson.
Nice to see you, apparently.
Nice to see you apparently as well.
Yes.
So in your introduction, you talked about silence. And one of the things that drew me to the message is the moment of recognition that knowing is a sham.
Yes.
Right? Like, just all of a sudden, like in the middle of the day, it's just like, wait a second, WTF? Like, I just realized I just have no idea what this is.
Yes.
And then, so my, filling in that, in a way, what's happening here is this remembrance, I would say, of the silence, that it's not just that I just popped into some reality from nowhere. It's like there's remembrance of a silence.
It's constant. There's constant silence, right? It's kind of like people call it resonance. It's that they don't really understand or whatever. There's intuitiveness to it. It's like a remembrance. You're right. Yeah. That this is always silent.
Right. Yeah. And getting pulled into the labyrinth of, judgments, whatever, narratives, things like that. It doesn't pull me in fully anymore. Me, whatever. Like, it's hard to talk about this, but there's more silence. And obviously, well, it's very welcome when that's obvious to me, or when it's obvious.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on, like, I was in a place of that type of happening where things are
Silent.
silent,
Yeah.
and beauty is also apparent,
Yeah.
and home.
Hmm.
And I got an email,
Yes.
and it just felt like it was an invasion.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I never read emails at 9 p.m. I don't know what I was thinking, but it's such an innocuous thing. And yet I felt, just, and I have all the practices, but then I think, why do I need a practice if I am, or if there is only what is?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny. It reminds me when I was a meditation teacher, like, and there's also a video, a video, a funny video. And I also felt that I was teaching meditation and I was telling everybody to inhale and exhale and clear your mind and relax into this presence or something. And the center that I was teaching at was at this, really busy street. I wanted to yell outside that, for whoever, I'm like, quiet,
Yeah.
inhale, it's that is also silence, right? So there's this preference, the preference of, there's expansiveness, this boundlessness sometimes. And then the email comes and you're like, what is this? That's also actually really empty. There's an empty email as well. And whatever seems to come is also empty. But of course, there's going to be a preference for that expansiveness and everything. But contractedness is also emptiness. And it's just seen, it's just felt. There's a felt sense. There's always going to be this felt sense of realness, right? So, you're kind of like in la la land, like walking around and someone calls you. And of course, you're caught up in that mysterious, illusory happening. But that's when everything is an illusion, the blissfulness and the irritation are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it's seen over and over and over again, there's no over and over again, that it's like silence is coming in as a scream or a really nasty email or something. But that's also, it's kind of like, when someone's playing hide and seek.
Right. Okay.
That silence hiding as noise, as hiding as whatever. It is silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it passes, right? It passes. So what's permanent is the emptiness, the empty silence, the without any kind of definitions or judgments. And the judgment that comes along with it is the illusion, but it's the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And, I did, for example, I don't know if this actually happened last night, but in the recent memory, like, I've tried to go back to some of my old go-to grounding.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God, get over yourself. And I don't.
You're like that dog with a stick trying to get in back to silence.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess I'm just on it feels like I'm on an apparent bridge to more, I don't know what I would even say, like, recognize, not maybe just, surrender is what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Not the right word.
Yeah.
Probably is no word.
There's no word. Yeah. It's basically kind of like, when there's an outside and inside, when there's duality, right? When there is, anger and bliss, this or that. When it's seen that they're the same, there's no bridge to cross. It's always home. There's nowhere to go. It's unavoidable. Silence is in the blissful. Silence is in the anger. Silence is in the outside or the outside. So there's no going inward to find silence, because silence is always present.
Very, very beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Lauren. Hey, Lauren. Hi.
Lauren number 2.
Lauren number 2.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I was about to message you. What's that? Yeah.
going to message you soon for a session, but I love your glasses, and I'm sorry I missed
Oh,
them.
thank you. Thank you.
I recognize them because of the
it's-
blue light.
It's
The
my
blue
favorite
light.
glasses so far.
Good, good, good.
Yeah. I was
So,
in Vancouver and I was actually kind of like hoping because the organizer said that someone's coming from California. So I was like looking
oh,
around,
you thought
waiting
it
for.
was me.
Yeah.
I had to go meet a friend in New York, and I was in Martha's Vineyard in Cape Cod. It was beautiful. And then when I got to New York, we rented an Airbnb that was $1,000 a night for 2 beds.
Ouch.
It had this panoramic view of the city,
Oh,
but about 10 things didn't work in the Airbnb, the blinds, so we couldn't see the view, the tub, everything.
oh
So I
no.
tried to get my money back. Anyway, it reminds me of what the other Lauren was just saying about getting an email
Mhm.
and it pulling her, ostensibly pulling her out of silence, because
Yes.
I literally got so enraged with Airbnb and the owners of this flat for not giving me a refund that I spent the whole day, but all during the day, there was complete peace. And I was like upset, and I was peaceful. And there was this,
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of is simultaneity, like the knowing
Yes.
of the silent background, and somehow there was more engagement in the story and the whole process than I would have preferred. I would have preferred if I had just more been able to fall back as the silence and as the emptiness, but
Yes.
it was still there,
Yeah.
even though the other thing was happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there still is a duality where it doesn't really, like, I couldn't really grok that it included that, so that I
Yeah.
could just release it. There was a grasping
Yes.
at that being an outrage and me being a victim and all that whole story,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
losing my money, and I grasped into the situation and got localized into the drama. But in between the phone calls and sitting there, I could kind of feel like, wow, this is so ridiculous, and it's so alien. But there was still this thing of the old trauma that it triggered that kept
Yeah.
making me want to
Yeah.
engage. So yeah, there's nothing to do about it. It's more like just to notice that there
Yeah.
still is. I don't know what your experience like when you get triggered, if you ever get triggered. I don't know if you ever get triggered anymore.
Yeah.
But
Well, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, simultaneity is the question.
Yeah.
Like,
So simultaneity and spontaneously is not, it's unspeakable. It cannot be understood. It's not even experienced because the apparent experience happens in time. So there's going to be a here and there, a comparison. So kind of like with the
Right.
dog example, right? You know what I'm saying? Inside and outside is home. So even if it's chaotic, that's home. Even if it's peaceful, it's home. And there's no going, and then some people, kind of like what Lauren was saying, are trying to, practice and everything, grabs a stick and tries to get back home. It just basically prevents it, but it's always home. So when there is this, like the Airbnb experience, for example, when it's seen that this is just, and it's for a lack of better term, I know this has been said so many times, that nothing is happening, this is just a happening, that no one has any control of this, that this is just playing out as it is, this is as it is, then there seems to be a dropping of that stick. Sometimes through the triggers or anything that makes it feel better, because sometimes when there's a trigger, there's a seeming reaction to kind of like, I'm going to call, I'm going to complain and all that kind of stuff. So when that seems to happen, there's just a clarity. Or even if that happened, even if that screaming and everything happened, back and forth on the phone, that's also seen as silence. So there's no shame about it. It's just what's happening. And it's just playing out as it is.
there was sort of the feeling, though, of like not time, but space. Like there are two positions. I could lean in,
Yeah.
I could lean back.
Yeah.
And something about the leaning, like finally the next day, I just realized the old trigger, it was triggering that's, I got the psychological story, so
Yeah.
I could lean back. And then I gave up the whole thing. I let go.
Yeah.
And then Airbnb, of course, called me with the refund. So
Yeah.
there's the sense that because I did something, right? I changed my view, then I manifested that result. But that's bullshit. That's the
bullshit.
spiritual story, right?
That's the spiritual story. And of course, Lauren is a very intelligent woman. So it tries to figure out all angles and everything. It tries to do this and that, was it manifested? Was it this? Was it done? Did I lean in, lean back? All of that narrative is completely silent. All of that. So nothing really was being done there. And when it's seen that everything is just playing out. So if this gets triggered, if somebody steps on my feet or, there'll be an ouch, but the ouch is like, I'm not going to go out for revenge. You know what I'm saying? Or that example when I got beat up, you know what I'm saying? There was no hang-ups. There's no hangover. And the bodily sensation in the story, and you know this because, you're in the medical field before, that there's seemingly kind of like a reaction. When something, especially something traumatic, for example, when I walked back into the restaurant where I got beat up at, there was this like an ominous soundtrack that made me pause for a bit. I was like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, so when it doesn't have any stories anymore, right? It's just seen as this soundtrack. It's just seen as kind of like, and then, of course, you know me, I love eating. So I kept on going back to that place because the food is good. So all of the stories, bad stories, good stories, I did this, I did not do this, as all stories. So there's nothing outside or inside. It's just this. And when it's seen that it's just this, there's just this, then the laughter soundtrack comes on. Like it becomes a sitcom rather than a tragedy or something. Then it just becomes like, oh my goodness, wow, right? It's funny because every morning I go, walk my doggy, and then I go to the same path, of course, because my doggy goes to the same thing. I keep on stepping on the same poop that someone always leaves. So there's this kind of like, oh, fuck, kind of thing, right? And then I laugh right after. Because there's nothing that can be done about it. It just happens. And then the next day it happens again. It's like a really funny Groundhog Day. That movie from Bill Murray.
I know, I've seen it, but don't you kind of learn that not to step in the poop? Like, don't you have like the
some
basic...
days I do, some days I don't. Some days, like the next day, for example, I'm like, I'm going to go cross the street. Of course, the next day again, I go back to the same path. And of course, the apparent, person that probably takes his dog who's at the same spot, and I keep on walking through it. So there's an anger here. And like the anger would be kind of like, you know what, that person should be reported because there's this beautiful park here, that kind of thing, right? But that fizzles down right away. It's not about avoiding it. It's not about, it's just seen through. It's kind of like a mist. When there's a beautiful morning and the light is coming and there's a mist, and then the mist is it just becomes a part of the stunning clarity that it's always what it is. Maybe mist is not a good example because it's also beautiful. But it seems to obscure the light, but the light's
but all
always there.
those things are there, the contractions that create the sense of apparent solidity, either emotional solidity or something like dog shit, right?
Yeah. So everything contracts and opens.
Empty.
It's all empty. It's kind of like,
shit. That's an interesting kind of
it's like, the body, like the eye blinks, like 1,000 times a day or 10,000 times a day. I can't remember. The heartbeat, I don't know how many times. No one's doing it. It's just happening on its own. It's contracting and open, contract and open. And it's the same as this apparent illusion. It's always changing. Sun, night.
Right.
Shit, no shit. Awesome Airbnb experience, horrible Airbnb experience. Oh, I don't know if you like watching horror movies. There's some of the most horrific Airbnb horror movie. It's called Barbarians. Whoa.
Oh my God.
Don't watch it.
No, I don't. No, la. I had enough. I had my own horror movie. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Emerson, you should start playing the lottery. I don't know how many times I've said this.
The lottery?
when you step in dog shit and
Oh.
brain fuck.
It has happened maybe about a dozen times already. It's hilarious.
You could be a multi-billionaire. Sorry.
If that works. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a couple of questions here. Kane, thank you. You can go with this or you can go with that. Brilliant music video with Christopher Watkins. I haven't seen it. I'll check it out. Great way to put it. It's just a soundtrack. Yeah, everything is just a soundtrack. And there's silence and there's a soundtrack, and a soundtrack could be ominous. Could be a Benny Hill soundtrack, it's like a circus soundtrack sometimes. It could be, I've been listening to on my walks, sometimes I listen to Maria Callas, which is just operatic, beautiful. And then sometimes I listen to Sex Pistols, beautiful at the same time. It's just a soundtrack. Kane goes, can you talk about prayer? Prayer is there's nothing wrong or right about it. It's a stick. It's a stick that thinks, that things will be better, or it's very dualistic because it's praying to something or praying to someone. It's the inside and outside when there's no inside or outside. Everything is whole and complete already. So praying happens, that happens as well. But it's prayer for no one and it's praying to no one. Thank you so much. Hello, Kathy.
Hello.
Hello.
See you again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Anyway, no, I just, I said I never really the sense of non-duality really hit me hard. Like maybe this morning. Yeah, it was this morning. It was about 6 o'clock. Well, it was when the light came. I think that was about whatever time, 7 o'clock. And, I'm looking out my window and I'm looking at all the colors in the Northeast.
Oh, yeah. So beautiful.
Do you have them too?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Apparently every morning is the best morning ever because of these colors. I'm like, this is the best morning ever.
It's just love. It's like such an intense freaking love.
It is.
Oh my God. And then after I have my coffee and whatever, there's such intense hate. I hate it. Because I gotta go out and rake. And I'm raking and I'm saying, you goddamn leaves, will you stop fucking dropping?
So that's actually a really good segue to what I'm going to say. That's all silence. So you're seeing silence, the beauty, the splendor, the colors. That's seeing silence. And then you put a soundtrack to it. The soundtrack is, I have to rake all of this splendor.
Yeah.
So the soundtrack happens, but there's nothing wrong or right about the soundtrack. It's just a soundtrack. The soundtrack usually ends. It begins and it ends. But the silence is this never ends.
Listen, I should have been a DJ, or maybe I was in a previous life. It's just like every time somebody says something or hears something, a song, I remember a song. It's like crazy. And then a lot of times I Google the song to see what year and then I press, whatever, I play it. I said, it's like craziness. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, I love the songs. It could be any song, it could be contemporary. It's not classical. It's not Maria Callas or anything like that. It's just like country,
Yeah, why not?
contemporary, rock. I have the preset stations, you know what I mean? And they just go, it goes all day, boom, boom. I'm like, whoa, who was that? And I'm like, I hope the DJ, the commentator says who did that song. But it goes continuously, almost. Yeah.
I used to not like country, but I have listened to country lately, and I was just wowing with the sadness sometimes of some of the songs, of how there's this, I can't remember the song, but it's about a person. This is back in the 70s, a song back in the 70s about the girl left, and he's like waiting, and he basically sent her kind of like he's going to be waiting on his phone forever for her to call back.
Yeah.
That longing,
a
that
lot of country.
desire. Yes.
A lot of country talks about God,
Loss.
God,
Yes. And loss.
God, country, and man. It's like, but it's great to dance to.
Yes.
It's great.
Yes.
It's got a great beat, and it's great to dance to. So that's what usually happens anyway. And then I have to get to the chores of breaking all those leaves. So I get all pissed off that I can't hear my music.
It's all silence, and sometimes silence feels like punk.
Punk?
Like raking
Did
the
you
leaves.
say punk?
Punk,
Like Sex Pistols?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to listen. I don't know the Sex Pistols, but I'll listen. I'll Google that and listen.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, thank you. Because I don't want you to catch me talking to myself like you usually do.
No worries. You're always talking to yourself anyway.
Because then I'm playing a video back, and you say, thank you, Kathy. And the next thing I'm like, this pizza is good or something. I got it on the freaking video.
You're
By
speaking my
Emerson.
language. Pizza. Pizza.
Bye, Emerson.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Emerson. Thank you so much for this talk. Is Emerson in silence? There's always silence. There's always silence. There's no Emerson, but there's always silence. So the silence is so stunning. It's so obvious. It's in everything. It's in everything. It's undeniable. It's unmissable. Yeah, it's always silence. So for example, on my walk today, I just get blown away by so much silence that sometimes they're sitting around looking at trees for hours, because the silence is so loud that any thoughts disintegrate. They don't have a chance. It's just this. And it's that obviousness. So for example, if someone is sitting around like I did, sitting around looking at trees and playing with my puppy. For example, if an ambulance comes, it doesn't really disturb the peace because it's always silence. Or an email comes and whatever, that's also seen as silence. So there are no more thoughts, so to speak. It's just silence. Everything is silence. Oh, hi, Kim. Hello, Kim.
Hey.
Hey.
I just thought.
Oh, I can't hear you, Kim.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love your talk today about silence. Can you say something that it puzzles me that this is just this deep resonance whenever we talk about silence.
Yes.
What is resonating?
Silence is resonating to silence. Silence is recognizing it's silent, that it's silent. That's basically, it doesn't need any words, right? Because this talk is this is all energetic. This is all energetic, right? And the silence is energetically resonating with the silence. There's no here and there. The silence is seeing itself, is hearing itself. And it's always this silence. All that there is silence, and there's nothing outside of silence. And anything that seems to arise, you know what I'm saying, is also silent. It can be heard as or felt as grunge or techno or or kind of like a horror, soundtrack or something.
Yeah.
Or the Jaws, kind of like that's yeah. But it's all silent. It's all a play.
Yeah.
So the silence is infinite. There's infinite silence. It can never leave. It's always this. And then the soundtrack that plays, it has an ending. It has a start and a beginning. So the permanence, the silent that it's permanent, is what is. And the soundtrack that comes is seemingly the illusion that seems to obscure the silence, but it cannot be heard without the silence. So even if you're hearing, that's also silence.
So what gets occupied with the soundtrack?
Sometimes people love the soundtrack and sometimes they hate it. But the soundtrack
but who
just
does
plays.
that? I mean,
no one does. That's the mystery, right? There's the mystery because the silence is appearing as a comedy, laughing track, or it could be a scary, psycho Jaws soundtrack. It's just what's happening. It's like an unknown DJ that there's no DJ, saying it just plays by itself. It's just a play. The play doesn't need a director. It's just a play. It's a play without a director. It's a play without a writer. It's just a play. It's like when puppies are playing. That's just like that kind of play. So the soundtrack plays, but it's not really even playing because it's just silent. Soundtrack can only appear in time, but since it's timeless, it's silent. So since there's no time, how can anything be heard? Because anything that's heard, the sound, the soundtrack, the talks, is also silent. Because if time is collapsed, meaning there's no time, nothing is heard. Nothing has ever been heard. It's always been silent. And the silent appears as wow. Whatever that wow is. It could be a disturbed wow. Or it could be an ecstatic wow. Unconditionally appearing as whatever it is. It's just whatever it is always it. And it is always silent. But not the silent that is understood or heard. Just the absence of everything. The absence of thoughts, the absence of whatever. It's just the absence. So this is silence speaking, and that's silence listening. But since there's no listener, no speaker, it's just all silence. Nothing is silent. Silence is everything.
It's so funny because it makes absolutely no sense, and at the same time, it just resonates totally.
Yeah, because it doesn't need to be understood. Because trying to understand silence is noise.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it is, yeah. And it's like that thing that tries to get it all the time, like the dog after the stick. It's like the one trying to find it and the seeming longing. It seems like two sides of the same coin in a way.
Yeah.
all that's happening when it's already
Yes.
silent.
It's always silence. So everyone longs for silence, or the, absence of this, absence of problems, of thoughts, but that is also silent.
Hmm.
It's also silent. Those are all silence. So there's no getting to silence when it's always silence. There's not trying to, trying to hear silence or trying to lean into silence when it's always silent. Because the leaning in and the leaning out is the same soundtrack. It's noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the dog trying to get in with a stick. It's comedic though, isn't it? I was looking at my puppy doing it and I was just laughing. I should have videoed it. I should have filmed it. But it's just hilarious. And that's what seems to happen, is when it finds something that it likes, it wants to maintain it. Nothing can be maintained. It's already, silence is maintenance free.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It appears in every apparent illusory happening from your childhood to your ideas about your dying, birth, death. It's all silent, meaning it's nothing at all. Someone that I was talking to that did a one-on-one said to me, this was yesterday, it's like I'm drowned in silence. I'm like, yep, that's what it is. You're drowning in silence and you're trying to make noise.
Very
There's
nice.
you. It's quite hilarious though, huh?
Yeah. It's so strange. Well, dinner's almost ready, so thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Lauren goes, it's like a vibration you learn to tune into. There's no one learning it. It's a vibration that's always there. That's always happening. Is silence a concept? Yes, everything is a concept. Again, when I started speaking about this, I said that this is unspeakable. But since there is this meeting apparently happening, so there's this expression of whatever it is as silence. It could also be called as popcorn. Everything is a concept. There's nothing outside of concept. There's no, everything is a story. Everything is a concept. Everything's an illusion. We're talking in dream speak. And there's no one outside of the dream or inside of the dream, because there's no one at all. Kathy. Hey, Kathy.
Hey. Yeah, no, it was when you just said, well, Kane asked about prayer or something, and then you were just something you were saying, you were sitting, with your dog. It's so silent. You don't even hear an ambulance.
Yeah. Well, you hear the ambulance, but it's also silent.
Well, ever since I was a little girl, up until I was an old lady, every time I was in the car with my mom, if we heard an ambulance, we had to pray.
Oh.
So that's twists everything up, if you know what I mean. You get twisted. You get a little bit twisted with all the prayers,
What's wrong with that though?
And,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but you don't even. It's just noise, sound, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's the habitual ritual or whatever things that we're inundated with.
Yeah, every 6 o'clock for quite a while was Angelus. Angelus, right? From the Catholic.
Yeah. Every bells for that.
Every October. So this is October. There'll be a rosary praying at 6 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like kind of a weird thing for me sometimes. I mean, I went away from the church, that's for sure. But with all the other stuff, you just, I don't know. Like I always tell you, sometimes I'm missing something. And I don't want a puppy. It's you know, all that connection somehow to something else
Yeah.
that doesn't exist. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
there.
all, if you really look at it, everything is a superstition.
Yeah.
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 It's a false belief of something that is usually based on a belief of something, which is not
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
the Irish people have 10,000 of them.
The Catholics has tons of them.
Yeah.
Tons
I
and
guess
tons
so.
of them.
Well, they just had the mortal sins and all that. You made a big mistake. Anyway, I just, you know, it's still, I know there's nothing wrong, nothing right about it, but it just,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just there. It's
Yes.
always there. And I want to cry.
Oh,
Leave me alone, you know?
yeah. Yeah.
Always there. I don't know how to, I don't know.
Silence is always there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I said, every once in a while, like, you know, like things pop up on the phone, like Rajiv, Theo,
Mm.
you know, and all these people are like glued to it, and there's not even a face-to-face discussion. It's just like typing real fast. What about this? What, blah, 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 like that. And I just said, you know, everybody's looking for the same thing. Everybody's out there. They just want something they can hold on to.
Mm.
And that's what religion does.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're just free floating out here. That's how I feel. Just floating in the river with no paddle, no boat even.
But there's no river as well. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you so
It's
much.
been fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is actually there's a live podcast that is happening right after this meeting. In about a minute. I'm not sure if I can. Let me find. Because I have to log in now. So thank you so much, everyone. There might be a meeting on Sunday, so watch for your emails. There's a couple of books that's being written here, so there's a lot of writing happening apparently. Thank you so much, everyone, and
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emerson.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Emerson.
See you, Emerson.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. So this talk is inspired by I was watching The Sandman on Netflix. It's my favorite graphic novel, and so what's being suggested here is that this is the endless, the endless, the locationless, nowhere where everything apparently occurs. So this is the endless, the nameless, where everything occurs, like thoughts, emotions, sensations, forms, awareness, whatever that is. In the graphic novel Sandman, there are many different characters like desire, destiny, despair, destruction, delirium, delight, death. And each apparent domain, each apparent like dream has its own domain. So what seekers long for is the end of the dream. It's the end of the dream, but the dream is endless. So everything in the endless is impermanent, temporary, that is appearing. It's just an illusion. Even saying that the endless is an illusion because it's just another idea can also be expressed that way. Even saying that emptiness is an illusion, yeah, you can also say that, because everything that comes up in the endless or the nameless is an illusion, including naming something that can't be named, or trying to conceptualize something that cannot really be put into a meaning, a definition, or an understanding. So this is not about understanding what the endless is. This is seeing that this never ends. Nothing never ends. So what seems to happen is that there's some stuckness that happen when, for example, a seeker gets stuck in the realm of dream, thinking that the dream has ended, but the dream is endless. Or, for example, when someone gets into a desire of something, there's seeming to be a stuckness in desire or destruction or despair, or even getting stuck in the idea of death. In the apparent graphic novel Sandman, these are all siblings, but that's just another story. So all of these names are just like characters in a graphic novel that is just purely fiction. There's no non-duality, there's no enlightenment, there's no awareness, there's no consciousness, there's nothing at all. But in the appearance of these seemingly colorful characters like death, desire, destruction, delirium, delight, destiny, is very inviting or very engaging. So there seems to be an engagement that happens in this fantasy or in this illusion of what death could be, or what death should be, or what desires are, or what is this dream about. But it can't be figured out because it's really fictionalized. It's just an imagination. So there's nowhere to go to. There's no landing in any of this. I'll go back into that highway. Someone just said, can you repeat a little bit of that highway analogy? I won't repeat that. You can watch it on video. But I'll add something to it. So for example, in the endless highway, there's the enlightened driver. The enlightened driver is still driving in the dream. It teaches others on how to be aware of the road and stay focused and conscious on the journey while maintaining a convoy of drivers, escaping the dream of suffering, unaware that they're just maintaining it by being aware of the unreal. Being aware of awareness is maintaining a dream of separation. Being aware of driving the dream bus is maintaining the dream bus and the imagined driver and the imagined convoy. So it just goes in a circle. It's just fiction again. The moment that there's a landing, the moment that there's an attainment, the moment that I have gotten here, there's an announcement that this is it, this is the location. It's missing it. Although it's unmissable, it's missing it. Because the endless never stops. Infinity doesn't land somewhere. It's free falling. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't look like anything. It's not what's expected. Any expectations or a conclusion to the story is just another story. There's no ending. It's like a series that goes on forever. I was writing this. I like writing sometimes, and I was writing this dystopian screenplay, this dystopian book that's set in the future, that everyone's suffering and there's this oppression happening. So in the dystopian future, everything starts getting canceled. Authority gets canceled. Some rules gets canceled. Some laws gets canceled. Some genders gets canceled. And then fast forward, everything just keeps on getting canceled. And then language gets canceled. The end. And it becomes utopia. So this dystopian idea becomes utopia without any languaging, without any words, without any narration, without any kind of suggestions, without guidance. It's utopia. Someone said, can you add more to that superhighway thing? So, thank you. You can watch the video, but I'll add something to it. So, being a speaker of nothing, a speaker that does not get anywhere, it's like being an Uber driver in a freedom highway. Um, so, when the passenger finally gets in, I usually tell the passenger, well, I can't get you anywhere because I don't even know how to drive. And the passenger goes, what do you mean you don't know how to drive? Well, it's always just driving by itself. No one's driving. So just put your hands behind your head, and see what happens. That is also not happening. This is just stillness. There's nowhere to get to. It's just a highway. It's just the endless. It's in the realm of the endless, where everything is allowed, but nothing happens. Because for something to happen, then it ends. There's a beginning and an end. So in the endless, everything seems to be going, everything seems to be moving, but it's actually stillness. Everything seems to be heard, but it's actually silence. And it can't be maintained. The endless can't be maintained, can't be sectored, can't be said that this is a better part of the endless, or this is a better way. There's no such thing. Because everything in a dream is a dream. A dream of instructions is a dream. A teaching is a dream. This speaking is a dream. Everything is in a dream. So in the superhighway of the endless dream, nothing happens. So if you would like to ask any questions, please go ahead. Oh, there's more questions here. Sorry. Yeah, it's already posted, that metaphor of highway. It's already posted. Thank you. Are you a big graphic novel? Yes, I'm a big graphic novel fan. When I was 20 years ago, I loved reading these comics, and some of them are really out there. And what caught my attention is I binge watched The Sandman. It's just a beautiful fantasy stories about death, and I like the way that death was portrayed. Death was portrayed as very kind. What happens when someone gets stuck in a dream? Well, no one really gets stuck in a dream because there's no one. But in the dream, being stuck in trying to get something, trying to arrive at something, trying to locate something, it's just going in circles. Because whatever is located in the dream is still a dream. Whatever is figured out in the dream is still a dream. Whatever is known in a dream is a dream. Whatever is learned in a dream is a dream. Nothing wrong or right about learning or figuring out or being stuck, but it's just a dream. And there's no way out of the dream because there's no one that's in the dream. It's just this lucid dreaming for no one. It's just this clarity that there's no one in the dream. Sorry, I can't read. I'm going to switch glasses because I can't read. Patrice goes, because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. Ah, that's beautiful. This is death. Death is all around. Is there anything wrong with the dream? There's nothing wrong with the dream. There's no wrong or right about the dream. And the dream will just keep on dreaming by itself. The illusion that there's something wrong or right is what seems to appear. So what seems to be suggested is that there is nothing happening in the dream, kind of like a nighttime dream. But the idea that there is something wrong or this is the right dream, or it's the arriving at something, it's the concluding at something, or it's the putting a flag and basically conquering it. This can't be conquered. This can't be put in a box, labeled, and put away. It's infinity moving, but it's also infinity is also stillness. So there's nothing wrong or right, actually, because wrong or right are just words appearing in a dream. All the words that are appearing right now are actually just dreamlish. It doesn't really matter. So there's no waking from the dream? No. Because who's to wake up in the dream? There's a seeing that there's a dream, that no one has ever slept and no one has ever woken up. And it's beautiful, actually. Because there's nowhere to get to. There's no one to wake up. Everything is already all awakeness. It's a dream dreaming of itself. It's just a fancy way of saying nothing is happening. When did the apparent Emerson start speaking about this? There was clarity here for about 3 years. Prior to that, there was this apparent awakening, but it was in a dream. So the awakening maybe about 12, 15 years ago, and that got turned into a story. So the speaking has only been happening since I just really started my YouTube account since March, but I've been speaking since this December. And that's just a story as well. Only humans know time. Yeah, this is the timeless. Again, time is just another concept in the dream. Nighttime, daytime. In the book, the Sandman book, the parents of dreams are time and night. And the siblings are dream, destiny, despair, destruction, death, and then delirium. All of them are a story, by the way. All of them are dreams. Ooh, controversial. Can you comment about occult Theo? So, sorry. He's saying that that non-duality is a concept. Everything is a concept. Everything is a concept. Non-duality is just another fancy word for something that does not have any opposites. Wholeness. So there's never an awakening. No, there's no awakening because there's no one to awaken. No one went to sleep, so there's no one to awaken. So when there's an awakening, when there's a seeing that there is just this, that there is no time, there's no one here, it's just this apparent functioning or happening in a dream where everything is seen clearly. That no one was asleep, so no one was awakened. It's just that really direct seeing, or this directness, this obviousness that this is a dream and there's no one here. So any kind of ideas of what is an awakening. So all the ideas basically get drained down. Ideas about others, ideas about time, ideas about all that kind of stuff is just seen as clearly as really nothing. So the whole Endless is seen as fiction. The whole Sandman series, graphic novels, is seen as fiction. That's why I'm using that analogy of that thing, is that it's endless, but even if you try to understand endless emptiness, non-duality, it cannot be understood. Because what's understood is the dream. So even someone that says that they're awake, they're still in the dream. No one can get out of the dream because there's no one. So there's never an awakened person or individual because there's no individuals. It's a dream. Kind of like, I'll go back into that dream analogy because there's this, so in the nighttime dream, everything that is dreamt up, it could be time, it could be others, it could be a situation, it could be sadness, it could be gladness, whatever seems to happen, and it feels absolutely real. The moment that there's this sliver, or there's this space, you know what I'm saying, that you wake up, that there's no thoughts, all of that vanishes and collapses into nothing. So if we're talking about non-duality, if we're talking about no opposites, having someone awaken is duality. Having someone asleep is duality. Having someone is duality. So what was being expressed is that since this is non-duality, there is no enlightenment. Answering your question, Freddie Brandt. There's no enlightenment, because enlightenment means there's a process that would have happened. There's an attainment. There is a learning of getting there, of a process. And what's being expressed here is that since this is non-duality, time is not possible. There's no time. Time is an illusion. Others are an illusion. Subject objects are an illusion. Practices are an illusion. Everything is an illusion. So when there is no time, how enlightenment can happen? It's impossible. You can say also that everything is already enlightened. And the same as no enlightenment. So what are we doing here? Well, this is just radical honesty that there's nothing to do. That there's nothing to figure out. And that's the unconditional freedom that is being expressed here. It's not giving you any kind of instructions, not giving you kind of hope, not giving kind of anything that seems to appear in time, in a time-based idea, because that's just another idea. Hey, Katie. Hi. Hello.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
Hi. I'll do my best to articulate my question. I think what, like where I've come with this, even though there's no me or whatever,
Yeah.
is that there's the appearance that comes that there is a me, or that I'm doing things, but that's not a problem.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, that just happens. And I can even see with that's kind of flimsy, like it's not always there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can't stop. Like kind of what I see is I see all this seeking, like seeking and trying to be productive, seeking and trying to do these tasks off my to-do list, or
Yeah.
in this talk or that talk. But like But there's nothing to be done about that either.
No, no, there's no one doing it too. There's no one choosing to be productive or not productive. It's just this occurrence, this happening, but no one's doing it. So the clarity of that one, there's nothing wrong about anything at all, or right for that matter. It's just this instantness, right? There's just this instantness, and in this instantness, it's seen that there's no one doing any of that. So there's no one choosing, no one. It's just this flow, and you can't stop the flow because there's no one there to stop the flow. There's just this infiniteness about everything. And in that infiniteness, there's this felt sense reality that I am doing this. I am, I got to, be more productive. I can't stop doing this. And that's also the beauty of it. That's also seen as the beauty of it. It's seen as kind of like, it's okay. I'll go into story mode here, kind of like, because I was inspired by that fantasy. It's kind of like there's this entity, although there's no entity, this entity that doesn't have form, doesn't have a location, doesn't have a voice. It's absolutely nothing. And it comes into this dream sequence that it wants to experience everything. Experience conflict, experience hunger, experience fullness, all of that thing. But since that is really the dream of nothing, so all of that hurrying up or being productive is just this wondrous apparent experience of no one. It's a happening. It's this occurrence. And then there seems to be a even kind of like, because it's separateness, there seems to be a how do you call it, a identification with it. And there's nothing wrong with or right about that too. It's just what's happening. But when it's seen that this is just this endless flow of nothing, then there seems to be kind of like, okay, you know what? No one's even doing this. This is a story. This is a story that feels very true. And then when you sleep at night, all of this vanishes. And then a new dream starts. And then all of a sudden in the morning, the nighttime dream vanishes. And then the new dream starts again. The daydream. But since this is an endless dream, this is the endless dream, no one went to bed at night and no one woke up in the morning. So there's just this infinite flow of nothingness, infinite flow of emptiness, appearing as us talking right now, appearing as this appearance of colors and vibrancy and this radiance. So when there is this, when the identification seemingly drops, nothing drops because there's no one. When there's this focus, for example, when this contraction is kind of like, it's like a revelation. Oh wow, nothing is happening, and it's seen in its glorious nothingness, and it's in its emptiness, and it's in its wow.
And that's like the dreaming itself.
Yeah. That's just another story, right? There's no dream, there's no dreamers, but because this can never be figured out. It's beautiful in that way that emptiness appears in mysterious ways. Things, events, feelings, the burp from this morning, the funky smell of whatever, the sweetness of the sugar. It appears as everything. It's just wondrous. It's wondrous. And it's just this stunning obviousness that it's in everything. It's in the bitter taste of the coffee. It's in the jolt from the caffeine. It's from the cream that's foaming on top. It's the wiping of the foam from your lips. It's the sitting back saying that, oh, I have such a busy day. Or, oh, I can't wait to relax. All that kind of stuff. That's all appearing as wholeness. And it's just appearing in variousness. It's appearing as different characters, like dreams, delusion, whatever. But it's just this wholeness dreaming of this apparent separation. And it's just wow.
Yeah, it seems like this is probably the most secret-y thing to say, but
Oh, go for it.
it seems like you know that, like that
Yeah.
you have something like some certainty about that, or you've had some experience where you're like,
Yeah.
yep, Emerson knows, even though there's no Emerson, but something over there knows this is a dream that I don't know. Like there's something that wants to know for sure, or have some experience to like validate. And I know, because I've listened to enough of these talks, like
Well,
that it can't be known.
It's actually, you know, what's really funny about this is this is coming out automatically. There's no one that really knows here. There's just this passion, there's obviousness of what's seen, or the absence of what's seen. The absence is the identification, or the I, that I am, you know, doing this, I am doing that, I know. So that's what seems to have basically short circuited, is the I, the glitch. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really a word. It's just really a word, and it's just even a feeling. It's kind of like when you're dreaming at night that you really thought that your tooth fell out, and then you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, my tooth's still there. That obviousness that nothing happened. So that's what's seen. Or for example, I'll use another example. For example, dreaming at night and someone dies and you're crying so hard, and then you wake up and your dog is just licking your nose. That obviousness that this is the unreal appearing as real. And it's just this, and there's no knower. I really don't know anything, to be honest. I really don't know anything. It's just this. It's kind of like in my other talk. It's just everything is vacuumed out. It's like this black hole. It's just this. Everything that appears is. It's not even appearing because it's there's no time. So when the knower collapses, the one that thinks it knows it all collapses, there's a little bit of humility that it doesn't really know anything. That this is just automatically happening. That there's no wisdom here. There's nothing special here. There's no guru here. Nothing at all. It's just this appearance of this communication appearing, seemingly appearing from this dream sequence where there's this colors and light and sound and solidity, apparent people talking, words coming out the mouth. There's seemingly a Katie there, but it doesn't see any separation. It sees separation as an illusion. Because the one that saw the separation before, the one that was convinced that this is separate, that there's you and I, that there's an I here, is the one that is basically kind of like when you turn on the lights, oh, it's dead. It's not there. So it's like the light's been turned on and there's nothing in the room. It's kind of like being afraid of a phantom or a ghost that does not even exist. Or being sure of something and everything becomes unsure. And it's just this never-ending flowing, falling of nothing. It doesn't land anywhere. So there's just this how do I say it? It's this infiniteness about it. To cut a long story short, I don't know anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
Thank
don't
you,
want to
Katie.
hold you up.
Oh,
Yeah.
no worries at all.
Thank you.
Shelly goes, it is like trying to stop eating ice cream when have a scoop and then end up eating the pie. No one is doing that. It is just happening. For some odd reason, that happens a lot in this character. I get like a little pint of ice cream, like, oh, it's gone. It is just another day in paradise, said. Beautifully said. Emptiness is appearing in different forms. Yeah. It's actually quite fascinating that this is even possible, that this is even appearing, that this is even happening. This is deep sleep, and seemingly this dream seems so alive. It seems so vibrant. It seems so, I don't know. It's just this wondrous dream that is just so wow. It's beyond words. It's beyond words. And also, you know what I'm saying, because people will assume that I'm just talking about the blissfulness and everything and all that kind of stuff, that it is a bypassing. When the pain is there, it's really painful. When there's sadness, there's real sadness. It feels absolutely real. When there's apparent heartbreak, like your dog dying, it's full on grieving. So it's not just this wondrous thing that is being expressed, but there's seemingly a sameness to everything, because what's being expressed is that there's this peacefulness that cannot really be disturbed by anyone or anything at all. So the permanence that I'm talking about is that peacefulness, that infiniteness that doesn't move. And everything that seems to be moving along in it, stories, confrontations, arguments, it's just movement in stillness. Maybe it's a fantasy would be a better analogy than a dream. Yeah, I like that too. I like that too. I like fantasy too. Thank you, Freddie. Yeah. Um, I like the dream analogy because it's this seemingly this seems like it's lucid dreaming, and it's more relatable when there's this lucidity in this dream, when it's seen that, you know, when there's this, for example, I always use this example, when there is a joyfulness in what seems to be done, for example, gardening, playing music, the apparent illusion of the identification seems to disappear. It's not there, meaning it's not really there. And then when the conflict happens, for example, my brother calls me and tells me something, usually a gossip about my other brother. And then the character usually comes up and will say, well, either engage or not engage. It's just what's happening. So yeah, fantasy seems more awake. Yeah. Well, nothing is really real. Yeah, fantasy. I like that, Freddie. Maybe I'll start using it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mala, please go ahead.
Emerson, can you feel quite completely empty? There's no drive, nowhere to go. No destination. And desires that you used to have, they just drop off.
Yeah.
So you're left in this situation where, God, what do I do now? It's very frightening, isn't it?
Well, you know what? It is and it isn't, right? Because there's no one doing any of this. So there's really it could be the opposite too. It could be this overdrive in trying to do something, or trying to it's just a story, right? So what is not emptiness is not a feeling, it's just is. And all the feelings that come along with it, like drive or a lack of drive, is just icing on the cake. It's just this appearance. So there's just this emptiness, which is not an experience, which is not a feeling. It's just what is. It's what is permanent. It's not even really noticed. It's not even it's not even I'm talking about. It's not even noticed, but it's always there.
I was just about to say I can't even.
You can't pinpoint it.
It's not even a feeling. It's not even a state. It's
no.
Here, but there is something. It's almost like a distant echo.
Something that is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the unknowable known. It's like a memory. It's a distant memory of something that never existed, and what never existed is you. So that's the resonance.
Oh, are you saying that I thought it's, that feeling is that
it's like a resonance. It's kind of like an intuitiveness that this is all emptiness. So that's what resonates with a lot of these talk, that there's really nothing on offer. There's really nothing to get. And that's what emptiness is. There's nothing to get, nothing on offer, nothing being addressed. It's just this. It's just like it's like a remembrance of what is natural.
Oh, you're
not
referring to the person. It's just
no.
You can't pinpoint it at
No.
all.
Yeah.
Not a word on the planet. I don't even know.
No, not a word in the planet, right? Yeah. So when there's
strange.
yeah.
But yet yet you kind of something.
It's always here.
Connect to it. I think that's the good word. Connect.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, you're always connected to it. Although there's no you that's separate, that's never been connected. It's almost like something that can never leave. Something that is always present. Something that is has never and something that exists and also doesn't exist at the same time.
Thank you, Emerson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mala. It's beautiful talking to you, because I remember our first talks. It was there was a lot of what do you call it? Whatever that was.
It was doubt and very terrifying. It was very terrifying.
It was, and it was a lot of challenging, right? You were challenging this character, and because it was trying to arrive at something. Take away my doubts. Yeah.
It was trying to feel it, and it was wanting to own the state. There's no owning of anything.
Yes.
In all fairness, right? None of us in this room have ever been told about this, or have taught, or have not come across anything. So how do you deal with something you don't know anything about?
Yeah.
So fear is obvious, isn't it?
I was talking to someone, and someone said it's kind of like the dirty open secret. I remember when I usually talk when there's a lot of contraction, that the shoulders are usually up. I remember you kind of like almost kind of like, and now it's like it's just not a care. It's beautiful.
Was it? You got a good memory, Emerson.
No, apparently there's no memory, but there's an apparent remembrance of that. It's just a story as well. Although there's nothing wrong or right about that as well. Thank you, Ghislaine, for that message. Thank you. Thank you. It was addressed, but not really. Can you talk about not giving a fuck? Thank you, Kane. When there is zero, when there's no one here, there are 0 fucks given. It's just simple as that. When there's really nothing, when it's seen that everything is just, even when there is seemingly a reaction to it, there's no reaction to it. I don't know if that makes sense. So when there's anything that seems to appear, it's just this spaciousness, this wholeness. So in that wholeness, even the reaction is just what's happening. It's just seen as just this empty holes. It's just emptiness. It's kind of funny because you know what, when talking about this seems a little bit ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? Especially for the apparent, there's no general public, but a general public. One of my friends he goes, I saw your video. No idea about non-duality whatsoever. And I'm like, and then? Interesting. There's no trying to explain it, no trying to convince anyone. There's just there's no care about this. It's just what's happening. It's just this simultaneousness of whatever is happening. Or a story that I always tell: when I walk at night, I put on my AirPods, and I put on some music and I sing out loud. And then sometimes people can, like, walking, look at me. Shameless. Because there's no one there. But I should take some singing lessons. Someone's trying to be controversial here. It's just what's happening. There's really not a care about others as well. It's just what's happening. Whatever is said is just empty words. It's just dream stuff. Hey Laura, yeah, Sandman is the name of it's a 10 episode miniseries. It's this fantasy of disapparent characters called Dream. So Dream gets caught and gets trapped in the human world for 100 years or something. It was fantastic. I really liked Neil Gaiman's. I think he grew up Catholic, and there's just a lot of this mythology that appears in that movie, and everything is a mythology. So I wanted to use it as my opening, because the dream is an apparent is from the endless. So in the endless, dream appears, but the dream is also endless. Oh, hi, Marcy.
Hi, Emerson.
How are you?
There's like a tremendous relief from what you just said.
Oh, thank you.
There's like a sense of, because I've been striving so hard, I know there's nothing to get.
Yeah.
Nothing to ever, resolve. And yet there's this double message that comes across, that there's something to get underlying.
Yeah.
There's some me to drop. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though there isn't a me, there's a subtle message that's communicated, that there's a me that drops, and there's a relief from that. And so even though there's less striving, it's still there. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
And then this message is just like, for help. It's like a relief, just a peace just came over, and it's just like, wow.
That's what seems to, it's I love that you said that, because it's like an eternal relief.
Yeah.
Because there's this realness that seems to appear, right? Like, for example, conflict or confrontation or whatever seems to appear. And then there's a relief because it's also this.
And also seeing that the whole thing is just going on effortlessly. The dream is just continuing regardless of what your supposed state, because there is nobody there. Just like, it's just this empty vastness that just flows, and it's fine as it is. There's no improvement. There's no self-improvement. There's no self to improve, and it's just like a thank you.
No, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. That was my favorite saying for quite a while, maybe for a whole week, was as it is, when I did maybe 3 weeks ago, because I did a retreat called As It Is. So I just kept on mentioning it as it is. And just the simplest, most direct way of saying what is it is.
Yeah.
It's always is.
Yeah.
Is what is.
Yeah. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Marcy. I'll do that too. Hey, Kathy.
Yeah. Hi, Emerson.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Even
too.
even this way. Yeah, I just kind of was wanted to reiterate like what Marcy just said, just the piece of this is it. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do. You don't have to get on your hands and knees anymore, It's such a relief in that sense. It's so relieving. This is
It
it.
is.
Nothing to do.
It is. Yeah.
Not to be talking about Theo again, but sometimes I listen because it's early in the morning and I'm going for a walk or whatever, put the earphones on. And like today he was talking about, we got to start a meditation group. And I was
Oh,
just like, oh no, I can't, go back there.
yeah.
For what? That's I guess, meditation in the sense of maybe, some people still meditate, because it's maybe for a relaxation kind of thing
Yeah.
to unwind. But, to find the self, like I can't go back there.
Yeah.
I just can't go back there to what I need to do to make it right, to find, the self. It just, and that's what the ease is in this message.
It is. I was just talking to someone last night, and she's a dear friend, and this communication. She was just gushing of how beautiful this communication is, and how that she was in that doing stuff, awareness, and all kind of stuff like that for a long, long time. So she's been um she's just been so relieved, so
Yeah,
content. It's just this, there's just
exactly.
this I kind of knew her when there was this kind of like going back and forth. So it's been a while now, you know what I'm saying, that she's been really clear, and there was just this naturalness to it now. There's no more, you know what I'm saying, that kind of like, that agitation,
No, no.
and I don't really want to talk about the that speaker. It's cool, it's
Yeah,
just
I
what's
know. I didn't
happening.
want to talk about him
But
either, but I mean,
yeah.
I came out this morning and I started
Yeah, it's just
questioning
what's happening
myself
too. You
about,
know what, there's
like,
nothing wrong
gee
or right
whiz,
about it.
maybe I need to start pulling out those Ramana Maharshi. I mean, I did start to actually question. Then I said, no, I'm here.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
it.
this is
I'm
this
not
is
here. This is it.
this is it.
There's
Yeah,
nothing to do.
there's nothing to do, and it reminded me, not to talk about that, reminded me when I had an awakening, maybe awakening, apparently, you know what I'm saying, about 12, 15 years ago. There was this like, there's just this excitement and sharing, and I wanted to, I basically started my own ashram, you know what I'm saying. I basically opened up a free meditation center for everyone, and I just really, really, wanted to share. and
Yeah.
and when I had that maybe it's like a year, I think, of like this, like, and I was helping people and everything.
Oh,
And but when something is done in the dream, it also ends. So I kind of like had like, oh no, it's almost like going
yeah.
backwards,
Yeah.
but it's just a story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong or right. So
Mm.
what? So
Yeah.
what?
Somewhat.
So what? Yeah. I did get a lot of emails about it, but it's just so what? Yeah.
What about the followers you had? Did anybody, back when you were doing the meditation teachings?
Actually, you know what, the odd thing about it is that I'm having a 5-day thing coming up. This thing is, I did it for them, you know what I'm saying, because I thought that they needed more
Oh,
more of an intensive stuff, something that kind of, because they keep on bringing
yeah.
back, meditation, awareness, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
wow.
it almost was like a um
Yeah.
um
A
hitting,
big,
it's kind of like, it's like stones, you know what I'm saying. It was just so is so deeply ingrained in that spirituality and that
yeah.
religiousness, right? That it was just, that one time I was in the retreat, you know what I'm saying, and someone said, "Hey, Emerson, this is the second day. Can I do something, something karma?" And I started laughing so hard, because that's what I used to do, is to to be worthy, right?
Yeah.
Is I would meditate, I would wash the
Sure.
tile floors, and I would do my
Sure.
karma, all that kind of stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh no, I said this is freedom. This is freedom just to not, just to be whatever. You know what I'm saying? And
Not to be negative Nancy, but I heard the girl earlier, I think it was Katie, was asking you, how do this.
yeah.
I mean, I would never be able to participate in this if there hadn't been a major glimpse.
Yeah.
Never. I would have said, these people are nuts. I would have
Yes.
been like, turn this station off. I would have never listened.
yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
So
And-
sometimes I guess, you can go with the beauty of the message and the relaxation and how it makes you feel that you don't have to be striving anymore. But
yeah.
at the same time, I think probably you've got something like 60 something participants here. I bet 40 of them had a major glimpse.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I usually get. That people usually that attends this are usually have done, one-on-ones or whatever. It doesn't even need one-on-ones. It's just maybe
Yeah.
whatever. That
Yeah.
there's just this relaxation. There's just this.
Yeah.
There's just this. I
Yeah.
was talking to someone again. I basically told her that you don't have to come to the 5 days. Saying you can, but if you want to hang out, there's just like that's what it is. It's just hanging
Yeah.
out. It's just
Just
the hanging
hang
out.
out,
It's
yeah.
just this. It's just this relaxed. This relaxedness. There's no one knows better than you. There's no guru. There's no one
Yeah.
on a pedestal. I just wear nice clothes and nice glasses. That's it.
Nice
It's
patch.
good looking stuff. But that's it's just vanity, but it's really nothing. It's really nothing as well. It's just whatever. Right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing special about this, and that's what's so special about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's it.
Yeah.
But
It's
I'm saying
it's
for the
so
hardcore a practitioner of meditation or whatever, Catholicism, Hinduism, whatever, we
Yeah.
could go, Buddhism, for the hardcore, this is a very difficult message.
Oh, it is. It is. Even when I had that, awakening, when I first encountered this communication, I was up in arms about it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just bullshit.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
completely. And so what I see, you know what I'm saying, in some apparent, I'm not going to mention names, of course, what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
it's when there's a glimpse that happens and then it's made into a story ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it becomes another story.
Yeah.
So this character waited 3 years to speak. You know what I'm saying? I was in breakout rooms and everything, kind of like, and it was already clear that this was permanent. That there's this is just what is, and this is just this
Yeah.
endlessness. But there was still this. What do you call it? Almost. I wanted these words to come out and not forced. You know what I'm saying? I wanted the
Yeah.
words to come out in clarity, and because for quite a while I thought I was just muddling
Crazy.
the water, muddying the clear water of what is already, and it's
Yeah.
not really. But when there is this passion of speaking, not for gain, not for popularity, not for anything, but just this, I can't help it.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
can't. I'm doing this 5 day thing, and I can't help it. I'm kind of like excited, kind of like, oh my goodness, 5 days. Is it Friday yet? That kind of thing, because there's just this excitement in sharing something that cannot be shared, and there's this. How do you say it? That there's this. What I like about this is when I was a teacher, is I was on a pedestal. In this communication, there's just this participant.
Yeah.
There's this participant, there's this apparent character that's really nothing, doesn't really know anything, but is seeing a lucidity in this dream, a clarity in what's happening. And it doesn't really land anywhere, but there's this like, yeah, it's really clear that there's nothing to do. It's really clear. It's really clear that there is nothing missing. It's really clear. That's it. It's just clear. that there's no processes, there's no techniques, there's nothing needed at all. And it's just this peacefulness, just this contentment. It's just content. It's just content. I was speaking to another speaker, and the speaker said, if this ends tomorrow, I'll be happy. Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do enjoy talking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we like, and we like the listening, obviously. I mean, what am I doing, you and anybody else who talks about it.
Yeah, thank you,
So,
Kathy.
yeah,
That was lovely.
Thanks. It was
Thank
good
you.
talking. Yeah, thanks, Emerson.
Ghislaine, I missed your meeting. I
Hello.
missed your meeting because because I'm not sure what Zoom link to use. Next time, send it to me.
Okay. Oh, for my
For last Friday. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
The gift of this message that doesn't exist is not even that there's nothing to do. It's that there's no one to do anything.
That's right.
And I don't know what is the commotion around this message now, because it's a gift,
It
if
is.
you have to meditate for 20 years to discover that there is no meditator, well, I don't know. This is the only gift of this message.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it will do the job or not, it doesn't mean anything, because I don't understand how it can be that the gift had been received by no one, and then bang, this is a system. No, there is no system, because there's nothing. There's no one. And if no one is name nothing, or name awareness, or is it a semantic thing? Or I don't know.
In the dream, I was saying, in the dream, there's just this, in the fantasy, I like what Freddie suggested, fantasy. In this fantasy, every fantastical things, ideas, fantastic awareness, fantastic meditation, it's just fantasy. It's just all fantasy. And that's the gift of fantasy, the gift of nothingness, the gift of emptiness. And when it's seen as a threat to liberation, then it's like fighting the air, fighting the invisible.
Of course, you can get lost in every kind of messages, because the message is not what it is. So
yeah. So for example, when I had that 15 years ago, when I had that apparent awakening, it was very intense. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I was talking really, really clearly, and some people would see that as special and everything. And but what becomes special has to be maintained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't maintain nothing because it's just happening. But what is thought of something special has to be maintained. So when it's not at the grasp anymore, then you look for something. Then it becomes an agenda. Then there becomes an agenda, and there's nothing wrong or right about that. It's just what is.
Maybe people. It's too fast. The enjoyment. There's a joy to share.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong about that at all. There's no one doing that and there's no one choosing to share or not to share. But what's seen here is that there's just this fast burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when the
shit hits the fan.
The surprise came in, because I never heard there is no one before. So when it was so shocking and so amazing and so wonderful, I didn't digest either. No one digest anything, of course. And I was like sharing the clarity, but it's shocking, it's shocking. So when it's shared in, apparent not prepared territory, there is a backlash.
Yeah.
And then, whoa, boy, I've went through like a traumatism. I don't know how to say that.
Traumatizing.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like, my God, it was awful. And then it settled down, and then, I don't know. It's like ocean, there is currents, there is shark, there is everything in that soup. And,
yes.
But it's no one's. So is you say, I am awareness, or there's no one. I don't know. It's equal. It's
the agenda, right? When it's being expressed here that there's no agenda here to convince anyone whatsoever. There's no purpose to what's being expressed here. What is just being expressed there is just, it's kind of like, I just kind of like remember Wonder Woman with the magic lasso. There's just this magic lasso around here, and it's just basically radically honest. And it's just saying that there's, for no gain, for nothing at all, that there's no one here.
Yeah.
Not giving a fuck about ridicule, because people are like, what do you mean that there's no one there?
Yeah, I guess it helps that you've been, apparently you've never been anything, but to go through the teaching things and hit the wall, and then
yeah, because when the teaching thing, I did all of that I was a meditation teacher, an awareness teacher, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Cannot, don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was it's also, there's nothing wrong or right about it, but it was just suffering. It was just full on suffering, because there was this maintenance, there was this this, how do you call it, and the know me becomes a special know me, because it becomes an enlightened, and then you think that you're responsible, you're a leader now for a bunch of people, and then you're holding them and everything.
But sometimes it's very credible, it's like wow, it's very, very wow.
Yeah.
You mean, and then
there's this here, you know what, there's just this clarity that there's nothing that can be done, and there's just this easiness, when I do talk to people on a one-on-one basis. If I'm very honest, what I'm saying, for example, if they need some therapy, I'll tell them, you know what, this is not therapy, right? It's not pretending to be something that it's not. It's just it's just this or give them practices that I know for 10, 12 years that leads to nowhere, to not, what I'm saying, was like, I used to tell people, you need to, increase your meditation practice, your awareness, your self-inquiry, that kind of stuff, to be able to do that. And the people that would come back to me, for 10, 12 years, of teaching, not, following all of the books and all of the scriptures, all of that. I'm not even going to mention the sages. Not one person would basically, not one person basically said that my story ended, or there's a relief here. It was always, what's next? What can I do more?
I can't even say, no one can say my story is finished.
Yeah.
Can't
No one
even be said. So it's it's like
it's
the mind is totally blocked. So I cannot, I didn't see anything comparable.
Yes.
It's uncomparable. Now anybody is free to do anything with this and make it says what it doesn't say, or you can go from right to left. I don't know. So, but it's so come, just you cannot take anything.
It cannot be grasped. It cannot be grabbed. It cannot
but if
be.
you want to, you can.
In the dream.
It's the mind thing to do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And this week, I won't have a friend Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
I just said, I don't want to give anything. And we'll see, because people think that if they come over, there's no people, but there is an energy of something that thinks that it is someone. And if you go to the Zoom meeting, it will disappear. Nothing disappears.
Nothing disappears. Yeah.
No. So it's it's not that tricky though. I find it absolutely wonderful. This.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Totally.
lack of words, and I will just shut up, and I will
I love you.
continue to come back because I like to speak about nothing.
Love you, Ghislaine.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. There's a question here from Angel. Hi, Angel. Angel goes, appears to still be confusion going on. It's like it's partially heard and then again not. All stories and words right now. Like the individual is illusory, and also what it thinks is reality is also illusory. Let's just clarify this, Angel, that there is actually everything is an illusion, including reality. So there's nothing to understand. So trying to understand something is also an illusion. Trying to figure out something is also fantasy. This can't be figured out. So that seems to be the going back and forth, is trying to get somewhere, trying to locate something, trying to find truth. There's no truth, because truth is just another word. True or false are words. They're just appearances, right? So the struggle. Oh, sorry. Hi, Angel. I hear you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm here.
I hear you. Perfect.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm better. I'm
Good.
better. Yeah. Just rough looking, so I don't have my camera on.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's no me here to get anything, but it's almost like it is heard, and
You can also say that the confusion is also it.
yeah.
It's also clearly, it's also clarity and confusion. Everything is appearing as it, including the confusion, including the partiality of it. The stories and the words are all empty. But go ahead, Angel.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's like my memory is going on a lot of things. I'm not sure why. Like when I apparently got this COVID, like I don't have much memory of a lot of stuff, especially like the past 2 weeks. So I don't know what's going on there. But it's just like certain things are softening, but naturally there's still questions, because naturally I still feel there's confusion,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, it's just this. And so when it said it's just this, it's like, okay, so whatever appears to be going on,
it's just
like,
it. Yeah,
it's just it. So like there's nothing outside of what is.
No.
So like if I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about something that I think is going on somewhere else, that's just a thought.
Yeah.
That there's something going on somewhere else, but there is nowhere else.
There's nowhere else. Yeah. It's kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right. It's kind of like, when a tree falls in a forest when no one's watching, does it really make a sound?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I get that. Mm-hmm.
And there's another kind of like, someone might want to correct me with this one, that the perception, when you are looking, for example, at a glass, the perception only makes that real. The moment that you don't look at it, it's unreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the attention, for example, if you're talking to, and this is going to be, mind blowing or not, I'm saying, the moment that you stop talking to someone, the moment that you hang up on the phone, they're not there anymore.
Right. Yep.
They don't exist.
Yep.
And then when you call them again, you say that, hey, what did you do in the past 10 minutes? And the person will appear all of a sudden will say, well, I was watching TV. Did you see that, last hockey goal or something? I don't know if you watch hockey. And you're like, okay, there's a continuation. But the moment that you stop talking to that, or the moment that you stop, thinking about someone, they don't actually exist. They only exist when there's an attention to it.
Right.
Yeah.
What about on social media? Okay. Like if I think that I see something that maybe you share, you see something that you think I share. So how is the interaction of what seems to be, you know what I mean? Others.
So interactions seems to be kind of happening us interacting right now. But the clarity here is being expressed here that there's no one here, Angel. This is kind of like the fourth wall in a movie. Hey, Angel, you're talking to no one here. I don't know if you can sense that, but there's really no one here. And then I go back into talking to you, and it seems like that there is someone here from your perception, but that perception is an illusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everyone that you encounter, for example, someone types, whatever, everything is just in your dream. There's no other dream aside from your dream.
Right. That's what I kind of meant about what you think is your reality.
It is
also illusory.
Your fantasy is yours alone.
Right. Yeah. So nobody really cares about.
No one shares your fantasy.
Exactly. So if I'm texting what I think is a friend, there's basically no friend on the other end of that.
Yeah. There's this realness feel to it that there's really someone there, right? But there's really no one there.
That's wild.
And let's go even wilder, right? There's not even texting happening. There's not even vision happening. There's not even a sound happening. It's just appearing like there is a texting happening. There's someone there. There is, communication going back and forth. There's flirting, whatever, but you're not flirting to anyone. That kind of thing, right? So, but it feels absolutely real.
Yeah,
absolutely real that you put winky face, you know what I'm saying, or smiley face on your text, because the dream feels absolutely real. So what's being expressed here is this subtlety that this is a lucid dream, that there's nothing behind it, but it absolutely feels real. You're not going to go around, Angel, and say that you're not there, you're not there, you're not there. Because in the dream, they're like, what are you talking about, Angel? What are you on? You'll probably end up in a hospital.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've tried to tell, before, whatever. But, you wouldn't believe some of the looks or some of the things I think they do think I'm about half nuts or something. So.
Oh, yeah. When some of my ex-students, you know what I'm saying, when I was a spiritual teacher, when they first heard me, it was just, they were like, did he lose his mind? And I said, yes, actually.
Because there's really no mind to lose.
There's really no mind anyway. Yeah. Lose it. It was never there in the first place, but yeah.
That's funny. But so the dream and the dreamer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when
there's no dreamer.
What I was going to say is when I've heard it said the dream and the dreamer are the same thing.
They are. It is.
Okay.
It is because there's no separate dreamers. There's actually no dreamers, just the dream. So everything the dream, the dreamer, the dreaming, the others, the time, the texting did not happen because it's a dream.
Oh, okay.
It's a fantasy. Yeah.
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 Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that.
Thanks for what? Thanks for what?
Thank you, Kathy. I hear Kathy too.
Yeah, I heard her.
Oh my God.
Even though there's no one to thank. But it had to be said, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. No one's welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Erie goes, Emerson, you talk directly with me. Oh, thank you, Erie. Are you there, Erie? Hi. Erie's from Estonia.
Hi,
Oh, hi.
I'm here.
Where are you? Sorry.
I don't have a camera.
Oh, you
I'm
don't
in
have a camera.
sauna.
Hi, Erie.
No. Hi, Yuri. Hi, hi.
How are you
Good.
doing?
Good. I'm listening, and in live, it's like so directness, like you are talking with me, like doing 101.
It's
Like
actually empty to empty.
yeah, and like when all different women asked questions, I felt like these were my questions.
Oh.
So awesome. Thank you.
Did you get a hold of Alar in Estonia?
No,
Not yet.
not
Okay.
yet.
All right. Thank you, Erie.
Thank you.
My dream has ended. Now it's just a dream. Jim Gibson. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. When the dream ends, it's just a dream. So the identification that it's my dream or others' dream is the one that's seen as empty. Leave. Hi, Leave. Who or what is seeing the dream? No one is. So even saying seeing is just another fantasy because there's really no one seeing. There's just a lucidity that this is a dream. The apparent processing or the functioning, seeing, is not actually happening since this is the timelessness. There's this illusion of time happening, that there is a subject object, but there's no subject object. So there's no dreaming dreamer. There's no you or I. There's no who or what. It's just this apparent seeing with no one behind it. And it can't be explained. So there's no prior. Since this is timeless, there's no beginning and no end, and there's no processes or functioning. In the apparent, illusion or fantasy, there's this apparent movement, which is actually stillness. There's this apparent seeing, which is actually stillness, meaning that nothing is really happening. And it's a statement that a lot of seekers don't like because they want something to happen. But that statement of nothing is happening is actually very, very precise. It's like a razor blade. It just cuts off. Nothing is happening, full stop. It's kind of like when I was writing the movie about the dystopian society that became utopian, when the words and the languaging got canceled. It ended abruptly because there's no need to tell a story anymore when there are no words. Gillian goes, it shoots the mind. Yeah. So it's seen or false, drops, etc. Does the story continue on? Like illusory family members, they're not going to vanish. No. The dream is it's endlessly, or the fantasy is maintained, right? But no one's maintaining it. So there's this seeming kind of like, colors and this vision, this audio, this movement that's appearing, and it's just this endless dream. But the dream is it becomes like heaven or paradise because it's seen that this is not really happening. So there's a dreaminess to it, or a paradise-like or heavenly feel to it. Right? Because there's just this. For example, you're someone is screaming at you like a family member. There's just this instant forgiveness because it's seen that that's also innocent. That's a dream.
Right.
Right. So there's not even an engagement happening, or someone, or someone. A whole bunch of people wrote me emails yesterday about something, and the reaction was like, "All right," you know what I'm saying? There's just this contentment here. There's no losing sleep about anything. The moment this head hits the pillow, it just crashes. It just goes to sleep because it's just the story continues, but the identification with the story is dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh, the doggy.
Sorry, Frankie just walked
Frankie.
in. Sorry. Say hey. Say hey, everyone.
Frankie wants to be a non-duality speaker, and it's quite good
Yeah,
at it, actually.
somebody had said to me on Facebook, said, I think Frankie's going to drop before you do. He usually watches all of them with me. So.
Well, actually, Angel, there's actually no Frankie anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I hear you.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.
Friday goes, is there any source? So is there any source? So this is actually a seeming kind of like almost like how do you say it? I wanted to use a word it's almost like a departure, right? From see a lot of religiousness, spirituality, even Advaita has a source. So what's being expressed here is sourceless. It doesn't have a higher, it doesn't have because source is separation. So this is sourcelessness. This doesn't have a before or a prior. So there's nothing to be abiding to. So when it's being expressed here, that was actually one of the trick that kind of like that completely kind of like, I'm like, what the hell? Because for quite a while, even when I was a kid, and this is just a story as well, and when I was a kid, I always talked to a higher source. Like I would talk to Jesus, Mother Mary, and talk to them directly. And then when I went to spirituality, I thought that I upgraded and went to spirituality, but I was actually still trying to get into my higher self, which is just another source. And then I started talking to the universe, which is just another source. And then the difference between I don't even want to call non-duality anymore. Teaching something is the teaching comes from a source. This is sourceless. It's not teaching anything. It's just basically saying, oh, look out the window. Look, it's already clear. It's just, it's already perfect as it is. Yes, actually, Angel, this feels like the Sims video game. It's just everything is just moving around. It does actually feel stunning. I walk to a mall sometimes especially after COVID, right? Because when I went to COVID and there was a lot of people in the mall, and I just kind of like saw everyone kind of like empty, like moving. So there's an artificial.
That's so funny. I don't know. Whenever you said something about no Frankie, it just hit me. It was like,
yes,
The Sims just instantly.
There's also no Angel.
No, I know. I mean, I don't know, but I mean.
Bingo, it's always bingo.
Yeah, I don't know anything. That's just what seemed to arise here was The Sims. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Erie goes, I had apparently today's same thought that my best friend probably thinks that I have lost my mind completely. I'm going to release that video, Erie, and show it to your best friend when I try to answer to her questions about what non-duality is. I'll release that video, Erie, so that you're not alone in the madness, right? There's also someone that doesn't have a mind as well. They're like, well, look, I'm talking to someone that's completely mindless. I'll release that tomorrow, that video. Oh, is your hubby there?
Husband?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, right now he's out.
He's out,
yeah,
okay.
We were together. Okay. Yeah, but we were together like 5 minutes ago. We had to go outside. But we are enjoying the sauna. It's Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Apparently you are with us in the sauna. Three of us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Fergal goes, if there is apparent sadness and pulling away from friends and family, is that something to be concerned about? I apparently awoken 3 years ago. I have also become attached to being a trader in the stock market. The day trading is completely fucking with me, and living it behind seems impossible. A bad dream? Everything is a dream. I don't like calling it a bad dream or a good dream. It's just a dream. It's just seeming. It's just what is. It's as it is. Being attached, becoming a trader is also what is. And there's no one choosing to leave it or not to leave it. It's just a flow. It's just a flow. But if you want to talk to me, Fergal, please go ahead. Yeah. You can message me, Fergal, if you want to talk more about that. We can do WhatsApp or something. Catherine goes, when I mention to friends that I have Zoom meetings, I find it nearly impossible to tell them what it's about. Imagine this character trying to explain it to others. Like, what do you do in your Zoom meetings? I'm like, nothing really. What do you talk about? Nothing really. What is expected on the 5-day? Nothing's expected, but apparently in the in these 5-day events, it's just a very hardcore. It's almost like if you've seen my one-on-ones, it's kind of like that. It's just this constant. It's exhausting the questioner. So there seems to be how do you say it? It's kind of like being in a hot seat. This is not good for business. People are not going to but being in a hot seat and just going through questions after questions to questions, and it's just illuminating that there's nothing that needs to be figured out. So I'm not going to release the Q and I'll probably release some of the probably release some of the introductions, but I'm not going to release the Q&A part because it's just going to be a full-on a confrontational nothing to nothing. Oh, someone said, hi Emerson, can we have a breakout room? Because yeah, for sure. I know that there's a meeting with I was going to go for 2 hours, but if you guys want a breakout room, I know there's some stuff that you guys want to talk about. I totally understand that. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys this Friday. If you want to join the 5-day, please, if you want to, please go ahead. Just email me, or you can go to my website. Thank you, everyone. And I'm super excited this Friday because it's my first time doing the 5-day online thing, and it's going to be nuts. Oh, hi, Kelsey. I see Kelsey from Toronto. Kelsey is the non-duality whisperer.